Good morning everyone. In this video, we are going to cover the current affairs of 10th of October. For the text version of this quiz, please install GKToday Academy app. Now, on regular basis, I see the comments that where to get PDF. See, there is only one way to read the text version of this quiz, and that is this GKToday Academy app. The link for this app is given in the description box. For regular updates, please join our Telegram channel and you can get different infographics in this channel. Now we have started a new channel, Civils Academy. You can subscribe to it if you find it relevant. Now let's start. So the first question is, IFCO, that is Indian Farmers Fertilizer Cooperative Limited, has partnered with which organization to promote new agricultural technology? So it has partnered with Prasar Bharati. IFCO has partnered with Prasar Bharati to promote new agricultural technology and innovations. And now, as per this agreement, DD Kisan will broadcast various innovative techniques which can be adopted in the field of agriculture. Now, this IFCO was founded in 1967. The headquarters is in New Delhi, and presently B.S. Nakai is the chairperson of IFCO. Dinesh Kumar Khara has been appointed as the chairperson of which public sector bank? So he has been appointed as the chairperson of SBI, and Khara will replace Rajneesh Kumar. Now recently SBI was also in news because of PM Swanidhi scheme. So this is a scheme for street vendors, and it is a scheme by Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. Recently, this Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs announced the API integration between PM Swanidhi portal and between the e-Mudra portal of SBI. Now what is API? It is Application Programming Interface. Recently, Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs was also in news because of Tulip initiative. Answer in comment box, what is the objective of this Tulip initiative? With state government launched the Kisan Rath mobile app to promote buyer-seller network. So this is related to Assam, and the Chief Minister of Assam, Sarbanand Sonowal, launched this initiative to facilitate the timely sale of agricultural products. And this app, that is Kisan Rath mobile app, has been designed and maintained by NIC, that is National Informatics Center. So this will establish a robust buyer-seller network, and with the help of this app, people will be able to sell their agricultural products. And the app will be released by APART initiative. What is APART? It is Assam Agribusiness and Rural Transformation Project. Recently, Assam was also in news because of Syeda Anwara Taimur. So, Syeda Anwara Taimur was first and only women Chief Minister of Assam, and she passed away recently. Assam was also in news because of Prayatan Sanjeevani initiative. So the objective is to revive the tourism sector, which has been hit hard by the COVID. So this is an initiative of state government of Assam to revive the tourism sector in the post-COVID era. The 12th BRICS summit, which is scheduled to be held in November, was originally supposed to be held in which city? So for this year, Russia is the president of BRICS and St. Petersburg was the host of this 12th summit of BRICS. BRICS is Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa. And the theme of this meeting is going to be BRICS Partnership for Global Stability, Shared Security and Innovative Growth. Recently, Russia was also in news as it successfully test-fired Zircon hypersonic cruise missile. Russia was also in news as recently Russian President Putin proposed a pact with USA for non-interference in each other's domestic issues. Russia was also in news because of Ambarnaya River, and this river was in news because of oil spill. The Election Commission of which country has declared its parliamentary elections invalid? So this country is Kyrgyzstan, and recently the Kyrgyzstan Central Election Commission declared the results as invalid. The capital and largest city of Kyrgyzstan is Bishkek. Now it is important to note that the former leader of country was under arrest, and therefore people started demanding that he should be freed, and they started demanding that the elections should be reconducted, and this led to the violent protest in the country. As per WTO, that is World Trade Organization, what is the growth of world merchandise trade in 2020? So it is expected to fall by 9.2% in 2020. and this is as per the revised trade forecast by WTO. WTO is World Trade Organization, and as per WTO estimation, the world will record a growth of 7.2% in the 2021. Now recently WTO was also in news as India and South Africa have formally submitted request to WTO for a waiver on IPR agreements so that affordable healthcare facilities can be provided to the COVID patients. WTO was also in news as recently WTO DG Roberto Azevedo resigned. He is from Brazil. Recently one more Brazilian was in news and he is Marcos Trojo. He is the new president of New Development Bank. The previous president was KV Kamat. Recently, a committee was constituted under his chairmanship. Answer in comment box, what was the objective of Kamat Committee? Which institution has estimated that over 150 million people are likely to be in extreme poverty by 2021. So, this is a projection by World Bank that 150 million people are likely to be in extreme poverty because of this coronavirus pandemic. Recently, the World Bank released a report and it is Poverty and Shared Prosperity Report. Recently, World Bank was also in news as it projected that India's GDP is going to contract by 9.6%, and this is going to be because of the national lockdown as well as because of the issues associated with COVID-19. World Bank was also in news as recently it also released South Asia Economic Focus Report. Which financial institution has issued guidelines for product labeling in mutual funds? So, these guidelines have been issued by SEBI, that is Securities and Exchange Board of India. Now, please read about mutual funds, ETF, and all those terms related to it. For example, venture capital, angel investor, difference in bond and equity, difference in debt and equity. Please read about these terms. Now, coming back to this SEBI guidelines. So, SEBI has announced detailed guidelines for the product labeling in mutual funds. Previously, there used to be 5 categories to measure the risk in mutual funds. Now, SEBI has introduced one more category, and this category is very high risk. And these guidelines of SEBI will be effective from 1st of January 2021. Recently, SEBI was also in news as Madhabi Puri became the first woman whole-time member of SEBI. It is important to note that SEBI was established in 1988, but it was given the statutory status in 1992. Headquarters is in Mumbai in Maharashtra, and presently Ajay Tyagi is the SEBI chairperson. The 2020 Nobel Prize in Chemistry has been awarded to the scientist for which field of chemistry? So, the 2020 Nobel Prize in Chemistry was given to 2 scientists for the development of a method for genome editing, that is named as CRISPR-Cas9. So, this is a genetic Caesar method. Like through Caesar, we cut something. Similarly, with the help of this CRISPR-Cas9 method, we can cut the genome sequence. Now, this 2020 Nobel Prize in Chemistry has been given to 2. One is Emmanuel Charpentier and second one is Jennifer Doudna. Now, this was Nobel Prize in Chemistry. The Nobel Prize in Peace was given to World Food Program. So, this was Nobel Prize in Peace. In literature, it was given to American poet Louis Gluck. Now, apart from these personalities, one more Nobel Prize winner was in news, and he is Mario Josh Molina. So, he was from Mexico and he won the Nobel Prize in 1995. Nobel Prize in Chemistry. Why he was in news recently? Because he passed away, and he, along with 2 other personalities, got the Nobel Prize for their research on damage to ozone layer. The USA is to set up the Foreign Commercial Service Office in which Asian country? So this Asian country is Bangladesh. So to boost economic ties with Bangladesh, USA is going to set up this Foreign Commercial Service Office in Bangladesh in Dhaka. Recently, Bangladesh was in news as Vikram Doraiswamy was appointed as India's next High Commissioner to Bangladesh. Capital of Bangladesh is Dhaka. Currency is Taka. Recently, Dhaka was in news because of BIMSTEC. BIMSTEC Secretariat is in Dhaka, and the most recent summit of BIMSTEC held in Sri Lanka. Recently, Sri Lanka was in news as it imposed a ban on the cow slaughter. Which Indian company has partnered with Ericsson to deploy 5G radio and transport solutions? So this company is Airtel. Airtel was also in news because of AGR, that is Adjusted Gross Revenue. So recently Supreme Court allowed a period of 10 years to the telecom companies to pay their pending AGR. It should be noted that Supreme Court also held that 10% of the total AGR due should be paid before 31st of March 2021. The Union Cabinet has approved a memorandum of understanding with which country for the exchange of knowledge and technology on cybersecurity. So this is Japan. Recently, Japan was also in news because of Quad meeting. So this was second Quad meeting, and this held in Tokyo. Tokyo is the capital of Japan. In fact, Tokyo is the host of 2020 Summer Olympic Games. Now these games have been postponed. Now they will be organized in 2021. Japan was also in news because the former Prime Minister of Japan resigned recently, and new Prime Minister is Yoshihide Suga. Japan was also in news as recently 13th India-Japan Foreign Ministers Strategic Dialogue was organized. So these were the most important questions. Now we are going to cover important news. Feel free to skip it at your own risk if you do not like the format. So first is Rudram 1. So this is anti-radiation missile, and this has been developed by DRDO, that is Defense Research and Development Organization. Recently DRDO successfully test fired this Rudram, and it is India's anti-radiation missile. Next is related to Ola. So the Bengaluru-based cab aggregator company was in news because London's Public Transport Authority decided to ban Ola on the grounds of violation in the passenger safety norms. Ola is an Indian company. Headquarters is in Bengaluru. It is a cab aggregator. Next is related to equalization levy. So this was introduced in 2016, and this was introduced to impose tax on the digital transactions. Recently, it was in news because government had imposed 2% tax on the sale of goods and delivery of services through non-resident e-commerce operator. So because of that, Google had paid additional equalization levy on the digital transactions, and that is why it was in news. Next is Stockholm Convention. So it was in news because Environment Ministry decided to ban 7 chemicals. So please read about Stockholm Convention, Minamata Convention, and Basel Convention. Next is bamboo rice or mulayari. So bamboo rice is also known as mulayari, and recently Tripura launched bamboo rice, and these are protein-rich rice. Next is related to RTGS system. So RTGS stands for Real-Time Gross Settlement. So recently RBI announced that now from December 2020, the RTGS facility will be available 24/7. That means you can do RTGS anytime. Right now there are time restrictions. The good thing about RTGS is that there is no payment cap. That means there is no upper limit for payment transfer. Of course, there is a minimum limit for this kind of transaction, and it is 2 lakh. That means for RTGS you need to transfer at least 2 lakhs. So it is for large value transactions. Next is non-invasive bandage. So IISc Bengaluru has developed a non-invasive bandage with magnet nanofibers. So these can treat skin cancer. Next is tree transplantation policy. So this policy is related to Delhi government. Delhi government was also in news because of C Codes initiative. So the C Codes initiative was started to provide coding skills to the girls in school, and this was launched by Delhi government. Similarly, this tree transplantation policy is also related to Delhi government, under which 80% of the trees which were uprooted for any construction or for any developmental project, now they will be transplanted somewhere else. Now suppose for this project you uprooted 100 trees. So 80% of these trees, minimum 80%, will be transplanted somewhere else. And the transplantation agency will get their payment only if 80% of the transplanted trees survive. That means you uprooted the trees from here, you are going to transplant all these trees to some new location, and if at least 80% survived, then only payment will be given to the transplantation agency. Next is Hindustan Times Codathon. So this was organized by the Delhi government in association with Hindustan Times to train the students in coding. Next is COVAX facility. So recently it was in news as China formally joined this COVAX alliance. So this is alliance of WHO, CEPI and Gavi. Next is Jewar Airport. So recently Uttar Pradesh government has signed an agreement with Zurich International Airport for design, building and operating the Jewar Airport for 40 years. This Jewar Airport is going to be in Uttar Pradesh and this will be developed as PPP, that is public-private partnership, and it will be functional in 2024. Next is related to Center of Excellence. So recently Meghalaya government has entered in a partnership with Israel to establish a Center of Excellence on high-value vegetables. So this has been done to improve the livelihood of people, and this is going to be a Center of Excellence for high-value vegetables. Next is online train ticket bookings. So recently Amazon has partnered with IRCTC to provide the facility of reservation on train tickets, and this facility will be available on Amazon. Next is Nilesh Shah. So recently Nilesh Shah has been re-elected as the chairperson of AMFI, that is Association of Mutual Funds in India. Recently SEBI released guidelines for the mutual funds. Next is third bi-monthly monetary policy by RBI. So this monetary policy is decided by Monetary Policy Committee. It is a 6-member committee. 3 are from RBI, 3 are by government. Recently these 3 were appointed. The tenure is of 4 years and these government appointed members are not eligible for reappointment. That means after 4 years they can never be reappointed as member of Monetary Policy Committee. So as per the latest Monetary Policy Committee, repo is 4%, reverse repo is 3.35%. Repo and reverse repo are part of LAF, that is Liquidity Adjustment Facility. On the other hand, MSF, that is Marginal Standing Facility, and bank rate are 4.25%. And last news is related to World Post Day. So this was on 9th of October. Apart from that, 9th of October was also celebrated as IFS Day, that is Indian Foreign Service Day. So these were the most important events. Thank you, and that's all for the day.